Welcome to the Rolex Middle Sea Race, bringing you live coverage from Grand Harbour, Malta. The historic port is filled with yachts from around the world, waiting for the cannon fire to ring out for the start of this spectacular race.
In order to make the race bigger and better, and the further outreach in terms of our remit, we have this year reached an agreement with the Royal Malta Yacht Club that the live streaming event will have a multitude of cameras from the Grand Harbour. Be it known that we firmly believe that the Rolex Middle Sea Race is one of the greatest events on the yachting calendar, not in Malta but also internationally. It's the challenge of the race, it is the endorsement of a prime brand like Rolex, and it also departs from what we believe to be one of the most beautiful harbours in the world. Yachting Malta shall continue to strive so that this outreach will be more international in terms of its aims, and we look forward to yet another successful event and wish all contestants a very good race, fair winds, and we thank the contestants, we thank the Royal Malta Yacht Club, and as well the volunteers that make this event a yearly successful event.
Last year we, amidst all the problems we had, with many lockdowns around Europe and the rest of the world, we still managed to pull in a fleet of give and take 50-60 boats. It was not an easy task. We were always on the brink of whether it would happen or not, but we did manage to get our crowd over. The Rolex Middle Sea Race is one of those races that is very much sought after for all its different cores, the different weather patterns. Going around Sicily proves to be yet again a course that offers very different weather situations.
Winning an offshore race is many an offshore sailor's dream. And when it actually really happens, it's quite surreal, but a lot of work does go into it. To start off with, there's a lot of hard work and dedication in terms of preparation, attention to detail, leaving nothing to chance, knowing your boat well, setting your boat up, particularly for the race you want to do well in. Some skill, obviously, and there's always the element of luck and weather. So if all the stars align, then you've done your best, then your chances of winning get you that bit closer.
The Royal Malta Yacht Club is proud to be organising the 42nd edition of the Rolex Middle Sea Race. This is an offshore race that is on a par, we think, with the Sydney to Hobart Rolex and the Rolex Fastnet race. The only difference is that the Rolex Middle Sea Race starts and finishes in the same location in Malta.
The Grand Harbour is a spectacular national gem which has always been one of the main agents contributing to Malta's maritime success. Besides being so historical, it hosts a hub of commercial activities ranging from trade to services to touristic enterprises, all of which are equally crucial and essential for Malta's economic growth. It is for this reason that the government has embarked upon its regeneration, not only to conserve the past but also to create new opportunities for the future. We are fully aware of the reputation that the Grand Harbour upholds, even with international waters, and therefore more than significant. It is a privilege for us to mark the Grand Harbour as the starting point for the Rolex Middle Sea Race.
The Rolex Middle Sea Race is an annual event which has become synonymous and a picture in the Maltese sporting calendar. It is an event which brings and attracts foreign interest to our country, and as such, as a government, we have to continue to sustain these types of events. Events which do attract interest, events which do show the qualities of the Maltese country, and as such, we are committed to continue to support these types of events.
Well, welcome to the 42nd edition of the 606 Nautical Mile Classic, the Rolex Middle Sea Race, organised by the Royal Malta Yacht Club. We're going to bring you live coverage of all 7 starts, with the multi-hulls to go first, followed by 6 starts from the monohulls, which will be racing for overall victory after IRC time correction for the Rolex Middle Sea Race Trophy. Starting in the glorious surroundings of Grand Harbour Valletta, the teams will round Sicily and the outlying islands, I should say. The course includes the mesmerising effects of 2 volcanoes, Mount Etna at over 3,000 metres, and the active volcanic island of Stromboli, the lighthouse of the Mediterranean. The Rolex Middle Sea Race finishes outside the Royal Malta Yacht Club, where a warm welcome awaits every sailor. 114 teams are entered from at least 25 countries from all over the world, with over 1,000 crews expected. Since the first edition in 1968, Italy has produced 17 overall winners, Malta 9 and the USA 3. Winners have also come from France, Germany, UK, Austria, Greece, South Africa and Russia. This year, the feisty weather forecast, together with an incredible array of high-tech race boats, is creating the perfect scenario for the race record to finally be broken. I'm Louay Habib. I'm sitting here with Giles Pearman. Not only has Giles done this race, he has been coming here for years. Giles, set the scene.
Oh, Louay, aren't we privileged? We're here once again, sitting high up on the La Baraka Gardens overlooking Grand Harbour, one of the world's most mesmerizing sights, as you said. It's a UNESCO heritage area. It is beautiful, and it's even more beautiful today because we've got yachts filling the harbour, and they're about to set off on an absolutely glorious adventure. And this year, we've waited for this year for a while. We've had some pretty windless shows for a while now.
Yep, we have.
This year looks a lot better, as you've said. There is a weather system moving in from North Africa that looks like it's going to keep breeze on the course for most of the race, for everybody.
Yeah.
It is going to depend on what size you are or how fast you are, how kind that weather is to you. So that's why you're talking about a record, because the front runners have been modelling this, and it looks exceptional. Something we haven't seen probably since 2009 and certainly since 2007. But for the smaller boats, this race is going to be very, very different. And that, I think, is what makes this race so special. There's something in it for everyone. And this year, it really is going to give everybody something.
Yeah, indeed. And we've got about 4 minutes until the warning signal, which will go at 1100, which is local time CEST. So about 4 minutes to go till the first warning signal. And then we'll have the first start at 11:10, which will be the multi-hulls. Giles, I'm going to pick out your press release that you produced yesterday. Formidable, I believe. Is this race potentially formidable?
I think it's formidable on all counts. We've got a formidable fleet. It's assembling in the harbour now. We're looking down towards the saluting battery on the right-hand side of the screen, and then Fort St. Angelo on the left, so that's the sort of starting area, and the formidable fleet's already gathering there. We were given a formidable weather forecast last night by the Italian Air Force, and I know there are other services out there that they're not alone, and they're predicting formidable winds. And it is a formidable course too, and it isn't straightforward. You have to. This is not a point-to-point race. This is something where every minute you have to think positioning, sail trim, where are you going next, where do you want to be, and if you want to do well in this race, you can't sit on your backside, can I say that?
Yeah, of course
and,
you can.
And wait for something to happen, because you've got to work, and that has been so true. We only have to look at boats that have won this in the past, and almost always the story is these guys have pushed it all the way through. I mean, the one that I always loved was the Russian boat Bogatyr.
Yeah, who were back this year.
Back this year. He raced it fully crewed, and he's, we think, first Russian boat ever to win an offshore race. But anyway, they raced it like a dinghy.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the secret to this race. Whether you're on a 140 footer or whether you're on a 30 footer, you've got to race it like a small boat.
Yeah. Well, you've got a beauty shot to look at right now. You're looking at the Mod 70 Marna, and the fleet is nearly all assembled in the Grand Harbour Valletta. We're here in Malta. We'd like to know where you are. We've got boats from 25 different countries, and you can drop us a comment and whatever social media you're looking at right now, and tell us where you're from. Who are you backing? Who are you cheering for? Let's hear where you are in the world. And we're talking boats from Australia, Russia, America, all over Eastern Europe, Scandinavia, all over Europe. I mean, it's an incredible array of countries. I don't think you see this array of countries at any other yacht race, Charles.
Not really, no, and I think that definitely relates to Malta's position. We've often called it the crossroads of the Mediterranean, and it truly is, because you're sitting bang in the middle. You're just south of Sicily. You've got the North African coast just off to your west, and obviously south you've got more of Africa. But it's a great transition point for boats from the east, the north, the south, and the west to come to. And what nicer place do you want to be at the end of October?
It's just fabulous here in Grand Harbour.
Really, we've got a bit of breeze. We've got we're warm. You and I are sitting in shorts. I'm not sure they'll be doing that somewhere else, but anyway.
And I think we're not far off a gun here. So we will have the warning signal at 11 o'clock. I think it's pretty close to that right now. And the first start will be at 11:10, which will be the multi-hulls. Just to talk you through the order, I think we're about to get a gun. Let's hear that gun go off. Maybe. There we go. Ooh, that was quite a delay. We're actually forward of the start line here. So the magnificent saluting battery at the upper Baraka there, Giles. That is quite impressive up there, isn't it?
It is quite impressive. That's as I read last night, doing my bit of boning up, was the working replica of a 32-pounder smooth-bore breech-loading cannon installed in 2011. But the history of the saluting battery goes back way further. It was built in 1566 as part of the fortification of Valletta after the Great Siege. It's been used as the start of this race now since the Yacht Club left its premises in Marsamxett Harbour 10 years ago. And we've had some spectacular sights. They're perched high up. The Upper Baraka Gardens is actually the highest point in Valletta Peninsula. Apparently a massive 56 metres, which you're going to tell me a fact about. 56 metres isn't that high, is it, Louis?
Well, it's about as high. In fact, I think Scorpios rig is just a little bit higher than that from the water, isn't it?
It is a little bit higher.
I think it's 55 metres, Scorpios rig, but to the water it's about 60 metres.
So they'll have a great view of that, won't they? You'll be standing up on the upper, you could touch it, but
let's not jump. They're the last start. We'll just run you through the starting sequence. So the first to go will be the multi-hulls, and then we will go through the classes with the smallest boats starting after the multi-hulls. So it goes to Class 6, Class 5, Class 4, Class 3, Class 2, and the final start will be Class 1. And we are now just about 9 minutes from a start. I'm hoping we're going to potentially have a drone in the air, Giles. Is that the plan?
That is the plan. We should have a drone in the air for this first start to follow the multi-hull, so because they're going to be pretty quick out of here. We're looking at a southeasterly breeze. Just so you know, the wind that's showing on your screen, if you can see it in the bottom right corner, is taken from the Valletta weather station. So it's not exactly what they've got down in the harbour, where
I got this terrible last year.
They want the
money.
No, they want line on us.
Hanging at the pin end. come in fast there, so you can then just sail across the harbour, and you probably still have to do a tack to get out, but there may be more breeze underneath the saluting battery.
The good news is, looking at the water, we have definitely got breeze down in Grand Harbour. We're feeling an awful lot more up here. So the good news is that we have got breeze in Grand Harbour, and looking out the other side of the breakwater, there's plenty of breeze out there on the spectator boats as well, Giles, to watch the start of this race.
And we're very lucky to have a camera down on the water that I think you're looking at now, and they won't follow this around as much, but the camera goes down. The other cameras on the bastions too, where we're sitting at Le Baraka, so we're hoping to have it covered this year.
Yeah. I mean, the view that you're seeing at home is the view that we have got forward of the start line. There's some spectators taking to the battlements. It is an amazing setting, this, Giles. I don't go to a race that's anything like this. It's an incredible setting with the 17th century battlements around the Grand Harbour.
Louis, you know I love to correct you, but they're not 17th century, Louis. They're 16th century.
Okay, I'm not as old as you.
That's true. I was first here when they were built, my children tell me. So...
Okay, so let's have a look at the time. We've got probably the preparatory flag is to go up. Quite a long way from the start line, just about to get going. And come on, Charles.
Għanitflu ntukom naħ close-up saħna ta'.
Let's go for a favourite each for each start.
A favourite for each start.
Yeah. So don't say it now. Just before each start. Well, okay. I tell you what. If you want to play this at home, if you've got a favourite in each start, just make a comment. Tell us who you think, or who you're following, or who you think is going to win each start.
Well, we've already had somebody called Mickey Drunston on the Facebook chat. He's clearly going for Blur.
He's gone for Blur. What, for overall?
Well, I think he's just gone for Blur.
I tell you, that's not a bad call.
Not a bad call, is it?
The Yachty Coastal race, they won that overall. So, really as the last race, John.
We've had some love for Zero Emission from Finland. That's nice too.
Okay,
Good
yeah.
to see you've got a bit of some international stuff. I'm sure there are some Maltese friends in here somewhere. I'm just looking to see if I can find them. Hello for Russia. Go Roscoe.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking, aren't we?
There's some very good Russian entries this
good
year.
Russian entry.
So come on, I'm going to nail you to the mast here, Giles. Multi-hull. Who do you fancy for line honours for multi-hull? Not the Mokra, line honours. Who do you think is going to probably be the first boat back to finish the Rolex Middle Sea race?
I'm going to have to say Argo.
You're going Argo?
I'm going Argo. Brian Thompson's on board. I think that may be the...
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, that's Jason Carroll's Mod 70 Argo. It's their debut in the Rolex Middle Sea race. And they're here from the Larchmont Yacht Club in New York. And that's Giles's pick. Let's see if anybody at home agrees with him. I'm going to go for Ultime Emotion 2 as the first boat to finish the Rolex Middle Sea race. Antoine Rabas Ultime 80. And it is the largest multi-hull competing, and on paper, the fastest boat. And it looks like a lot of reaching angles, and I think that extra 10 foot of waterline length is going to make a difference. And if they do, they will almost certainly set a new multi-hull record. So I'm going to go for Antoine Rabas, Ultime Motion 2, and Giles has gone for Argo, Jason Carroll's American Mod 70. There are some other boats in that start.
There are some other boats in that start. There's the wily Giovanni Soldini with Maserati Multi 70. He's taken line honours on the 3 previous times he's been here, and there's no reason to suggest he won't do it again.
About 2-3 minutes to start, Giles.
Just a feeling that he won't. Mana, they won on Mokra last time round, didn't they?
They did. So had a cracking race with Maserati in a lighter airs race.
Yeah.
But cracking
15
race.
minutes of separation between those two boats at the finish, and then that reversed on handicap.
And just for the record, Giovanni Soldini's Multi 70 Maserati actually has the multi-hull record for this race, which they set in 2016. And it's 2 days, 1 hour, 25 minutes and 1 second. And the back chat we were hearing last night, Giles, they reckon this is sub 40 hours, don't they?
They do. The key to this for them is the exit through the Messina Strait. They really have to drive on this afternoon, get as far up the Sicilian eastern shoreboard and out in to the Tyrrhenian Sea in the best possible shape they can, because what they don't want to do is get caught up in a shutdown at Messina. They don't want to get caught up in foul tide. They want to get out there in as good a shape as possible, and Soldini said it yesterday. He thinks whichever one of them that comes out first is going to win.
It's a very complex picture with several low pressure systems. Where they end up is going to dictate the direction and strength of the wind. But a lot of the boats have been pointing at Messina as a big gate, haven't they, Charles?
They have, because they're looking at a pretty good weather wind for the start. They've got, well, apparently we've got to get a sound signal.
Yeah, that's 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go to the start of the Rolex Middle Sea Race. And first off is going to be the multi-hull. So we're going to focus now on the tactics at the start. And at the moment, closest to the line looks like Marna. That's Riccardo Pavoncelli's Mod 70, Italian Mod 70. They're closest to the line at the moment. Shadowing them just behind, I can see Ultima Motion 2. And on opposite tack at the moment, but just they're both changing tacks. There's a nice little dial-up going on between Maserati and Ultima Motion 2, just behind the boat closest to the line, which is Marna. And they're the three I'm seeing closest at the moment. We have got a small multi-hull that's even closer to the line. But if Marna have timed this right, and they have a cracking navigator on board, young Artur.
We'll start, Louis. They're off.
They are
Marna
indeed.
Have timed it perfectly.
Yeah,
they're up and away.
Great start for
Maserati.
Marna. With the legendary Loic Perron on board. Maserati look like they've done a good job, but Ultima Motion 2, a little bit in irons there. That dial-up did not work for them.
And Argo showing that you don't win the race on the start line.
Yeah, Maserati just getting a bit of dirt there, slowing down a touch.
I think interesting. I'd be looking at Argo at the moment. They are at speed.
They're coming like a train, aren't they?
They're coming up towards the pin end of the line.
Yeah, windward boat, but they've hit a light patch as well. There's obviously a light patch just after the start there. It must be gusty for that wind direction. But look at Marna go. She's now clear air. She's got to be doing, well, I'm looking at the rib next to her. She's got to be doing at least 15, maybe 20 knots. Incredible speed, but what a start for Marna. Riccardo Pavoncelli, boat captain Jeff Mearing, and son Nicholas Pavoncelli is also on board. And Jean-Baptiste and Artur Le Vallon. That is a really, really good team. Maserati hanging on to Marna's tail. Argo looking really impressive to windward, but a little late on the start. So I'm giving the start here to Marna. Giles, what do you think?
100%, 100%. They've clearly shown us that actually the pin end's not favoured. So one beer to you, Louis. A bit more of the centre of the line. In fact, it's more how you do around Fort St Angelo, which is clearly causing a wind shadow.
I think you're getting a gusty, disturbed air under there, and getting better over here. Maybe they should have all done that last year when they all went the other way.
Yeah.
Ultima Motion 2 just coming through.
So Marna, I don't know if we're seeing this from the drone or the breakwater, but Marna is just about to pop out through the harbour entrance with Maserati right on.
Well, we're on Ultima Motion 2 at the moment, Giles, for the viewers at home. And that's the largest multi-hull in the race, and the one I picked. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, that's
there's
fine.
Marna. Sorry, beg your pardon, Maserati. Maserati. Coming through, Giovanni Soldini's Italian Multi-70. And this is their 4th race. And they've taken line honours in the last 3.
Look at them go, Louis. I'm sorry, let's
defence.
just dwell on that for a moment, because they are...
Marna is screaming along. Look at her go. Now, these boats can do about 2.5 times wind speed. So I'm not surprised if that boat is now doing about 25 knots out of the breakwater. And there she goes.
And the big test for this is...
Maserati just behind. That's got to be a boat length, maybe 2 boat lengths, that's all. We should explain, Maserati does not have the T-foil set up. She is in normal Mod 70 mode. But look at the speed.
They're doing their final exit of the harbour, and they're getting into sequence now for the first of the monohull starts. Just so you know, viewers, we have got a camera, hopefully down at the turning mark near Dragonara. And we have a man on the mic down there who we might be able to speak to later on.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Our guess was, would they get there before the before the next start? We're not quite sure, but they're going to crack off, aren't they, in a minute?
There's Argo, debut race. And as you say, the multiple world record holder Brian Thompson on board. Jason Carroll's American Mod 70. Brian has competed in 3 previous editions of this race, twice with Fado, and last year he was on Marna, so he's jumped ship.
He has. Whether he's made the right choice or not, only time will tell. But they look to be flying at the moment.
Also on Argo, we got Charlie Ogtree from the US, Pete Cumming from Warsash, Great Britain, and Thierry Foucher from France, America's Cup winner. Pete Cunningham is a bit of a specialist on these boats, and he's been on several. Charlie Ogletree was in the 600 on this boat. And Charlie also races J-Class, which must be a little bit different to one of those.
I'm just wondering at what point they're going to have to put the goggles on. They were out. Who was out?
They were trying to find
yesterday?
ski goggles in Malta, which is not easy. That was Jeff Meering trying to find where he could buy some ski goggles in Malta. They don't have too many mountains in Malta, do they? Certainly not covered in snow. And there we have Maserati, current record holder. And one of these boats, I can almost guarantee you, is going to set a new record for this race. It's which one crosses the line first.
Yeah, they've got an exceptional weather forecast at the moment, Louis.
Good pace there between Maserati, and I think that's Argo in the background. Camera's just panning forward there, and we're back to Grand Harbour. Wow, they are not going to take long to get to Capo Passero, are they?
Well, Capo
I think they're
Passero,
past that, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they're on the way to
They're
Sicily.
on their way.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes till the next start, which will be Class 6. So that's the prep signal for Class 6, which will start in just under 4 minutes. And Class 6, we have a number of Maltese boats in this class, which has the honour of being the first away for the monohulls. And Class 6 has the smallest boats in the race, and many of them will be taking 4, maybe 5 days and nights to finish this race. They're passionate. A lot of them are amateur sailors, nearly all of them amateur sailors, passionate Corinthians, and it's all about passion for the boats in Class 6, Giles.
I think so. It's definitely they're truly up for the challenge. They understand that this race is going to take them a lot longer than the bigger boats. They will see 3-4 nights at sea, some of them. They are going to see more than one patch of bad weather. Looking at the forecast, they could have quite a tough time tonight when this low pressure starts tracking into the racecourse area, and it's setting up some very, very strong easterly winds.
That's quite foreboding if you're in a small boat, isn't it?
I think so. You'd be looking at that weather forecast and be thinking it's going to be uncomfortable, but you'd be doing everything to set yourself up to get through that first night, because once you get through that first night and you get out and if you can get yourself north of Stromboli Monday at some point, then you're going to be looking good, because the weather is then okay across the top of Sicily. You may start to see building breeze, which the bigger boats will not have seen up there.
And by the time they get to Favignana, you can start to see some big sea state in those open waters.
Well, they will have had that, because the sea state's probably going to be building at that point too, because we've had plenty of time for this wind to come through. Who's your favourite in this one though, Lou? You haven't told me yet.
I'm going for a brand new boat to this race, but the crew certainly aren't, and that's the Maltese J99 Calypso, skippered by Seb Rippard, along with his brother Tommy on board. They're both grandsons of John Rippard Sr., who won the first race in 1968. The Rippards have incredible form in the Rolex Middle Sea Race. I'm gonna go for the J99 Calypso, Charles. We're not far off a start, just so you know, about a minute and a half.
Okay, well, I'm not agreeing with you on this one again. My pick is Trevor Middleton's Sunfast 3600 Black Sheep. Skippered by Jake Carter, 2019 Rorke Seasons Point champion over a winner, and they actually sealed that win at the 2019 Rolex Middle Sea Race. So that's my
cracking crew. Met on a round the world race. They like the longer races. Black Sheep, nice boat. Sunfast 3600. That was the 1 minute hooter that you just heard. So we're inside 1 minute to the start of the second start of the race, which is class 6. And let's just have a little focus here. We can see it looks quite a competitive start. There's 2 or 3 boats. Think they're early. They're flapping their head sails. Quite difficult to pick out which ones they are at the moment, to be quite honest with you. We'll wait till they get up closer to us. Looks like a very competitive start, this, Charles.
Well, these guys have got nothing to lose, have they? They're small boats, they're easily handled. I can see Bogatyr in the middle of the line. He's just hardened up on the breeze. And I'm not quite sure who's beneath him, sadly, but he looks well placed for this.
Looks competitive. And just to explain, if anybody is OCS, I think there's a 2-hour penalty. Good start, the pin end this time, Giles.
Very good start at the pin end, but who's to
Dark
say?
Hull boat. We'll wait to see when they get a bit closer which one got a good start there. It's a Dark Hull boat there with all grey sails. But there they go, and those mainsails are not going to be coming down for 4 or 5 days, possibly more.
Well, they might be reefing. There's a definite possibility of that, Lou. I've got to do a shout out here.
Possibility.
I need to do. You've mentioned a J99. I've got to do a shout out for a Russian J99 called Space Jockey. I spoke to them on the dock this morning.
Oh, what did they say?
And there are 3 professionals on this boat. The one I spoke to had done the race. This is his 6th race. And he said when he started, it was in a 40-point, Beneteau 40.7. He always thought he'd get into a bigger boat. And now he's sailing a J99, so it hasn't quite gone to plan. What he remarkably told me was that there is a Russian gentleman on board who's not just taking part in his first ever offshore race, he's actually taking part in his first ever race.
Oh my word. Okay, well, they are an experienced crew though, Giles. I know 2 or 3 of them have raced in the Swan 60s and I believe 49ers as well. And I know one went to the J70 World Championship in Torbay back in 2019. So he's got some good company. We start to pick out some sail numbers, Giles. I'd say that the grey sails in the front, it is very difficult to see blue numbers on a grey background if you're watching at home and just about to put numbers on your sails. It's an Italian boat.
I think it's Chestras. It's a J109, Leonardo Petti, who has done this race before.
Okay.
He's got a very good start for a J109.
Very competitive.
But outside him, there is Open Page, Securitas Maltese Falcon 2, the famous Maltese Falcon, just to windward. Very good start at the pin end. Inside them, one of the...
Well, I'm gonna hold you there, Giles, because your Russian Space Jockey, I think is having a very good race, but to me, I'm liking the look of MLT 099, and I'll let you tell me who that is, who's leading out of Grand Harbour. Who's that?
those are the Ripards.
That is the Ripards. That is Calypso.
We should expect nothing less from them.
Yeah, leading their fleet out of Grand Harbour. Skippered by Seb, with brother Tommy on board, with his new wife Lauren. Very good crew on board, know the race really well. And I think that's our friends Bogatyr there, who are previous race winners, Giles. You do get a nice eclectic mix.
Foggy Dew, we couldn't really see, wouldn't be able to get them on the camera, but they came in right in close to shore. Foggy Dew's down there. Now, that's another tip for if it was a small boat race, he'd be one of your bets.
Not a bad call, yeah. I mean, Noel Racine has won the Rorke Seasons Points Championship RC4 consecutively at least 4 times. But this is a new boat for him. This is a JPK 1030. And so he's going to be getting used to it. So that was Class 6 away. We've got about 7 minutes till the next start. And just a little call out for some of the boats in the start that's just gone, which is in Class 6. Got to mention the Maltese boats. We've got 13 Maltese boats this year, Giles, and a lot of them in this start. We've mentioned Calypso with the Ripards. We also have the RMYC Rear Commodore House, Mario De Bono, racing Janissa. And he has Matthew Cicluna on board, a real race veteran. We have Jonathan Camilleri Baumann, another veteran of the race, racing Open Paid Securitas Maltese Falcon. He was 4th in class last year, and it's his 5th race. We've got a two-handed team, I believe the only Maltese two-handed team, which is Andrew August Delicata with his Reflex 38 Vivace. And he's racing double-handed with Matthew Gabrielli. And this is Andrew's 9th race. He's done 4 with Elusive 2. We'll come to them later, Giles, will we not? And we cannot let that class go without mentioning Jarhead Young Sailors. They've got 2 entries in this year's race. And the foundation educates young sailors here in Malta. Jizjan is skippered by Emily Gregory, who is 20. And let's give Saul Vassallo a happy birthday. He's skippering JYS Jarhead, and he is 18 today. So happy birthday, Saul. What a way to spend your birthday.
What a way to spend your birthday.
Fantastic.
Somebody else spending his birthday, isn't he? You talked about Jeff Meering earlier on. He's on his 40th birthday. Invited Luke Perron to the party.
There we go. So there we go. That was quite a lot of the Maltese entries. We've got 13 in all, more to go. So clean away and great breeze, great conditions here in the harbour.
They are all but out of the harbour. There is a back marker who we should mention, Allegro Appassionato, Beneteau first, 41.7 with Pierluigi Bettiol Furlan. They are taking the slow road out of the harbour, but they will be out and they will be on their way.
Yeah, it's getting a bit hazy out there. I'm wondering if that's more wind though, Giles, outside. We'll find out. We're back
they
in
definitely
Grand Harbour.
look like they're hardening up, don't they? Okay.
Yeah. So we're back in Grand Harbour for the next start, which will be in approximately 5 minutes. And that will be Class 5. So Class 5 due to start in about 4 minutes. So I'm going to jump the gun here, Giles, and go for my favourite in this start. And for me, that's got to be Tom Kneed's JPK 1180 Sunrise. I'm bagging them. I think they're going to have an amazing race. It's the team that won the 2021 Rolex Fastnet race overall, and I think they're going to do the class double. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to go the whole hog, but I think that they're going to do very well in this race. Tom himself is from Plymouth in Devon. The crew includes Tom Cheney, the navigator, Dave Sweet, tactician, Victoria Tomlinson, and also Ed Bell and his son from the JPK 1180, their big competitor, Dawn Treader, that unfortunately didn't finish the Fast 8 race after a collision. That's my pick for this start. Tom Cunneen's Sunrise. Giles.
Yes, Louis, you try to get in there first, don't you, to give me no options and make my life difficult. But I'm quite happy because there's a 1080 racing, a Russian 1080, Timothy Zankov on Roscoe Racer. Now, they have done this race before and they've put in some good performances. They were 6th overall in 2018. Last year they won their class and was 5th overall. I think they're one to watch in these conditions.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
I think they'll be hard as nails out there.
And also they have proved their mettle in big conditions.
They have. Yeah. I'm also going to go for an emotional choice, if that's all right, too.
Can I have a go emotional?
Because there's an American yacht, Noisy Oyster, J122, skippered by John Duncan, who's from the West Coast.
All the way from the West Coast to
All the way from the West Coast to State. They chartered the boat in France, but it's a group of friends from the West Coast and the Midwest, from Lake Michigan, and they've raced together. They've done a lot of Chicago Max, and I have a great friend on there called Marion Lambrecht, and she and her husband and the rest of the crew are doing this race for the very first time. It's been a bucket race for them.
And
I spoke to them this morning. They're really looking forward to it. They're very pleased to come this year because they said we've got wind all the way around. They're just a bit worried about how much wind they're going to have in the middle of tomorrow night.
Wow, okay, brilliant. It's fascinating to hear all those different accents in the Royal Malta Yacht Club during the week, isn't it, Charles?
Oh, it's been brilliant. Even just look at this start. Croatian, USA, Italy, Russian, British boats, Slovakian, Polish, Swedish, Dutch. So even this start is a polyglot.
Yeah, and I think we might have seen a wind shift here, Charles. We've got a lot of boats at the pin end or going for the pin end. In fact, virtually the entire fleet. Oh, we're less than a minute, Charles. Can't give you a full countdown. But
it's
less than a minute.
Crowded
very competitive start.
Very crowded at the pin end.
As I say, we can't read the cell numbers from where we are right now, so we'll give you that later. But there is a crowd at the pin end, but it's quite interesting to see another bunch of boats, not quite the pin end. Could be a nice controlling position, that, Giles, to be quite honest with you, because they're going to have to tack.
They're going to have to tack, yeah. And I think we've actually seen from the previous start that you don't need to be tight on the pin. You actually sort of 2/3 of the way up is a good position to be in. And these boats coming now down towards us, certainly the ones in the middle look to have got a good lane. Closer to the pin, they're a little more upright already.
Okay, I think I can pick out. I'll just get my goggles on, Giles. Yeah, so the red hull boat we're just seeing in the picture there, that is Yves Grosjean with J133 Javaro, who won the pin. But as we were saying earlier, that probably wasn't the best start. I'd love to be able to pick out the boat that's in. I can see. You know what? I think that might be Blur. That was one you picked out. Who's had a cracking start there.
Blur, the J111, Peter Gustafsson.
Yeah, it is. A cracking start there. He seems to run out of wind a little bit there, but a great start from Peter Gustafsson's Blur, and who lasted the race in 2019.
But the boat leading the way at the moment is Tevere Remo Monil, Beneteau First 40, Gianrocco Catalano. We haven't talked about them at all. And
that's a bit of an
I'm not even sure we've given them any consideration.
I'm sure their friends and family are cheering them on at home, because that is a cracking start there for the Italians.
That is a great start from that boat.
We've got a focus there on Blur with Peter Gustafsson. Now we've got the aerial shot. We're getting some fantastic images. A little bit better than what we've done in the past, Charles, with you, me, and an Instamatic camera.
We have, and we've got the Russians are coming. I think it's safe to say. I'm looking at Roscoe Racer, GBR 555N.
Yeah.
But just above that, GBR.
That was your pick out, wasn't it?
RUS 1000. They've also pulled one out of the bag. And Blur, they've got some separation on the boats behind.
Yeah.
So your friends on Sunrise got a little bit of work to do, but they're not out of this, are they? And it is only the start.
It is indeed. They had an amazing performance in the Rolex Middle Sea race, the Rolex Fastnet race, and wish them all the best here. Made a big effort to get the boat down here, as did a handful of bridge boats that made the journey after the Rolex Fastnet race. We'll come to them later.
Nylander 450 with a US numbered sail. That's actually a Dutch boat, Martin Dirks. My friends are down here on France 9687.
Yeah, we've got your Roscoe Racer up there. And I tell you what, I remember that was a windy race. They blew out a load of sails when they came through to get that cracking result of 6th overall in 2018. And they told me they literally went through the entire sail wardrobe for downwind sails, that is. Another lovely beauty shot there.
But it's great to see them getting away cleanly. Great to see them all getting away cleanly, Louis. We've had some starts where it's been a bit of a driftathon.
Yes, indeed. There's great breeze for this start. Just a couple of pick-outs as well. We have got some displacement boats that are probably going to enjoy this race a little bit better than others in past ones. And just one pick out is Andrew Alder's Swan 53 Ballitrim, who's just started the Rolex Middle Sea race. A much-travelled swan, and it's his 4th swan. So he obviously loves the Nortar Swan brand.
Yeah.
And Peter Hobbs on board, who is skippering the boat. And Ballycrim's crew is all family and friends, and they are hoping for good breeze for the race, according to Andrew.
Peter Hobbs, he's a very, very experienced sailor in this race. I've seen him really since I've been coming here back in the early 2000s. He's been at this.
Yeah. We've got an Amapolo 2 up at the moment. That's a beautiful boat, isn't it? We're about to show you, quite frankly, a lovely piece. Back in a minute.
The Rolex Middle Sea race for Malta is sort of the top of the big event, the climax of our season of racing. So for a Maltese boat to win it, it's already a big thing. For a Maltese boat to win it, for any boat to win it twice in a row is another level altogether. We are very, very proud of the achievements we've reached.
Down on the water, I'm hoping we've got George Bonello Dupuy. George, can you hear me?
Hello, this is Mark. Can you hear me?
Mark, you're out at Dragonara Point, so you must have seen the multi-hulls go past.
Yes, well, basically the last of the Mokka is just rounding now. The first one to round was Mana, the second one was Maserati, and the third one was Argo.
Thank you. And what were they doing? Were they up on one hull, or were they going around very slowly?
Oh, the Maltese were out of this world. Out of this world. I've never seen anything like it, believe me. Big difference compared to Pepe Pizzotto, our friend from Italy here on Atame. He's just leaving the harbour. He's always in high spirits, and
pristine conditions.
we'll give him a wave goodbye, and Pepe, as usual, waves back. But the Maltese were something I've never witnessed before. We've had one or two, but having those four Mod 70s just flying out. Oh, part exchange would escape any day.
There we go. Sounds a bit exciting out
Sorry,
there.
I got a bit excited over there. We had a little bit of confusion over who we were talking to. We did first hear from Mark Napier, who's out at Dragonara and had seen the multi-hulls fly around the corner, and then we got a little bit from George Dupuy, who's our man on the water in the harbour.
Oh, no.
Phone?
Well, we're back in Grand Harbour Valletta here. We tried to patch out to George and Mark. Sounds like they're getting very excited watching those multi-hulls fly by.
I think they were. I think there was definite envy.
So what are we on now? This is going to be the start of Class 4 in just under 2 minutes. And in this start, we have a real mixture of boats, which is a phenomenon of this race, which is nice. We've got displacement yachts. We've also got lighter boats that are very much capable of planing, and we have the fantastic Elusive 2 that's won the last 2 races, and you just saw a wonderful video there with Maya Podesta, and she's racing with her brother Christoph and Aaron in Elusive 2, and I'm sure all eyes in Malta will be on the Podestas following a race, you know, a 2 race consecutives. What do we call it? A 3-peat, I think was the.
Well, that's a very American expression, but we have adopted it. They are on for a 3-peat, which was last achieved back in 1980 by the boat Nita 4 that won in 1978, 1979 and 1980. It's not been done since. Nobody's won it. They're the only boat also to have won it 2 races in succession until Elusive 2 did it in 2019 and 2020. So it's a really tough ask, and I'm not going to predict them for this because I think it's unfair. They've got enough pressure on them.
You're not going to lay that on them.
No,
So come on, who are you going for? We're literally right on the start here, Giles.
Well, I'm going for Sailplane, the Mat 12 Rob Bottomley.
Yeah, with Nick Jones on board. They've also got some very good Irish crew on that boat. They've got Ken Rumble and Barry Hurley. Barry lives here in Malta these days, and he's knows the race very well. So does Ken. So there's a good crew on that boat. That's not a bad pin.
Piling up at the pin, Lou, eh?
It is piling up at the pin. But I tell you who I'm going for. I'm going for Jacques Pelletier's Milan 41 L'Ange de Million. And Pelletier has an amazing track record. Well, so we just heard the gun. A few boats shy at the pin, but there's one boat in the middle of the pack there that was probably the most forward. But again, we're looking at a fairly congested pin end.
There's a black-hulled boat just 3 in from the left-hand side of the screen, 3 in from the pin with La Furla. That's Tonton La Furla, Jonathan Gambin, Maltese boat. He 3rd overall last year, didn't he? Cracking race last year. Admittedly in a reduced fleet, but all the same.
And he hung on to Elusive the whole way round, didn't he? It was a great race. So fair play to Jonathan Gambin and his crew on the Dufour 44, Tonton La Furla. Great start. And he's done, do you know, he's competed in every edition of the race since 2008.
I wonder if he would have done that if he'd competed in 2007, which was the notoriously bad year.
Maybe that spurred him to do it. Maybe. So here we go. This is the start of Class 4. And Giles has definitely put his marker on the Mat 12 sailplane. Mills design. Had a cracking Rolex Fastnet race.
They did indeed. They were 5th overall in this year's Rolex Fastnet race, and we've got most of the top 10 competing this year, Lou, haven't we? So we've got quite a. They've got some scores to be settled in that. I think we should be looking for this.
What do you say?
Albator leading the fleet out from the middle. Benoit Briand and Philippe France.
Yeah, Philip, and that boat's again very well travelled. We've seen that boat out of the Caribbean, to the Caribbean 600, and the Rolex Fastnet race as well. It's 3rd overall and class winner in 2018, so they know this race.
They're being chased by a Spanish X562 with Pedro Gonzalez Ibarra skippering that. That's a pretty good start for a big heavy boat against some lightweight competition. They must have had a good run, but let's not forget that Espresso, Sean Borge, XP44, also up at the front row of this start. But I think that the real shout out needs to go to Encounter, a Dutch entry, Bart Veduer. It's a Freres 53. It is probably, it's sort of verging on IOR shape, isn't it?
Okay.
Louis? And yet they've done a stunner. They've absolutely got the legs on everybody else.
Great start. It's great to see the breeze in Grand Harbour for the start of the Rolex Middle Sea Race. I'm sure there's a few people envious at home because they look like they're going to get breeze all the way round the 606-mile course. This really is set to be a cracker.
Italian Arsuna, Italian 15001, that's an Adria FY49 with Antonio Giulio Gaffaro. They've done this race before. They're doing very well. I think, look at who else we're seeing. They're all coming up on this too.
Super View.
Great favourite. King's Legend. I don't know if we'll see the Swan 65 go past, but with James Stableford as the skipper, that is an ocean racing boat with pedigree.
Yeah. We've got an amazing view from up here, Giles, I have to say. Fantastic.
Well, you certainly wouldn't be uncomfortable on a Swan 65, would you? Nor would you be uncomfortable on the Swan 651, which is also in this start, which is Lund St. Mir.
That was one of your favourites.
It's one of my favourites. I've always loved the Swan 651. That is a boat I'd like to have one day.
Yeah, we've got a cracking shot from the drone here of the crew. I'm trying to ID the boat. I'm sure people are screaming at me at home, but just coming into shot there, we've got another beautiful swan. But we are now on...
That's Pata Negra, the Lombard 46.
Indeed. Well spotted, Giles. Pata Negra.
And Sailplane.
And Sailplane. Let's give you a bit of detail on Andrew Hall's Lombard 46 Pata Negra. It's one class in major offshore races around the world with the previous owner. But with Andrew Hall at the helm, was third overall in the 2021 Rolex Fastnet race, which is some effort in 350 odd boats.
That is a huge effort.
So well done. Good to see you and your team out here, Andrew Hall, and a shout out to Izora, the racing association that covers particularly the sailing that goes on in Wales and in Ireland as well. There we've got a shot of Pata Negra. She's a very powerful hull shape and will be loving the fact that we're looking at big breeze. Just looking down through the fleet there.
Lund St. Mir.
There's Lund St. Mir. Now, you know all about this boat. Come on, tell us about Marietta Strasoldi's Swan 651.
Well, they came fourth overall in 2018, second in class, and the boat is skippered by Riccardo Gengini. They are just the most lovely couple. I was fortunate to have dinner with them one night at the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup.
Very nice.
And very good company they were too. They fell in love with this boat, and
it's a beauty, and they keep it immaculate, isn't it?
They just want it to sail, and when they sail it, they think it should race. They don't think it was built as a racing yacht, and they feel it should race.
Okay.
We're looking at the two back markers.
Well, this but I've got to take the hats off the Belgian team. Peter Look on the JV39 Blackfish. And that's two-handed with Jan Truhen. One of the two-handed entries in this race. And then we're going on to an Italian boat. You might have to help me with that one, Giles.
I had that. That's the Preferisco Azzurri 40 Pierpaolo Ballerini. Probably looks a bit of a struggle under IRC for that boat in these conditions.
Okay. But you can see, the conditions on board, all the crew on the high side there. There's plenty of breeze.
Plenty of breeze.
We've got the sun coming out now, Giles.
I know.
Okay, so that is Class 4 away. So far, everybody's been clean. I don't want to tempt fate. We have just under 4 minutes to the next start, which will be Class 3. And you may be noticing the boats are getting faster and faster and faster. So the next start will be at 11:50 local time, which is Class 3. And I am going to nail my colours to the mast here of James Neville's HH42 Eno. And she was the overall runner-up in this year's Rolex Fastnet race. James is the Commodore of the Royal Ocean Racing Club. He races the boat inshore, offshore, every shore. He does an amazing amount of racing. The boat has twin rudders and some very innovative flying sails. This is James's first Rolex Middle Sea race, and I reckon that Eno's going to have a belter. Giles.
Well, he probably will, but I'm not going for him because I can't. I'm going to go for Phosphorus 2. Mark Emerson's done this race before, didn't do it on the A13 Phosphorus 2. He was 6th overall in the Rolex Fastnet race. He's 3rd in class for the Rorke season. I think he's another strong entry in this class, but this is a really, really tough class because you just got to look further down the list, and you've got RT3. We haven't talked about them. We won't be allowed back in the Royal Malta Yacht Club if we don't mention them, will we?
No,
Lisa
we won't.
Tariano
No.
and Christian Rippard.
And Timmy Camilleri, who has done 28 races. That is not a typo. 28 races Timmy Camilleri's done.
That's a serious effort, serious time commitment. We should also mention another Maltese boat, Otra Vez, Aaron Gatt Floridia. This might be a bit trickier for them because I think the boat is new to them, Louis.
Yeah, it's a brand new Ice 52 Otra Vez, and Aaron is sailing with his brother Edward. And they have done a lot of races between them, but had a bit of a break in recent years while this new boat was being built. Umberto Felci design, 52, with a huge sail area. Brian Flahive, the Irishman who lives here in Malta with his family, is on board. And we are just about 1 minute away from the start of Class 3.
Let's see if we can talk to George. Can we speak to George on the water briefly?
I'm here. I can hear you very well, guys.
George, tell us how it's been for you so far. You've been right down amongst it.
Well, it's been amazing. I mean, truly impressive. I say this every year, but this year we've got an amazing fleet, an amazing international fleet. The mods just flew out, then the slower boat started, but now we're really getting into the hot boat action. Yeah, we've got a good Maltese collection of yachts starting in about 30 seconds here. And, well, it's just getting bigger and bigger and more exciting and more exciting. We can't be happier.
Wish you were on the race?
Nah, I prefer organising it, to be honest.
Bye, George. We'll talk to you later. They're just about to start.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Start 3, Rolex Middle Sea Race. And I can see a couple of boats dueling at the pin there. I'm going to stick my neck out and say that one of them is Gilles Caminard's Cœur 40 Shanapan. And those watching from the UK might recognise that boat as Hooligan. Who else is up there at the pin end, Charles?
I need my binoculars, Louis.
Well, let's stick with Shanapan. I'm pretty sure that's Shanapan 4, as it's known. And Gilles was incredibly successful with Shanapan 3, including the IRC European Championships. He was UNCL Boat of the Year. There's a crew all from Marseille. And this is his first race in this Cœur 40, which is an absolute rocket ship. But I tell you what, there won't be a dry eye on board that boat. It will be as wet as anything later in the race when they get in that big breeze.
It looked a little slower on the line, didn't it, Louis, then? But they are picking up speed now. So I can see Artie's in the middle of the line with the big checkered hull. But up front, there is an XP50, I think. Connor Doyle, Frere, they seem to have led the way off that line.
Yeah, Connor Doyle has a cracking team on board that boat. He's got Nicholas O'Leary from the Royal Court Yacht Club. He's got Campbell Field as well, who's a Volvo navigator. And Kelvin Harrop, he's really tooled that boat up. So I'm not surprised they've got it going.
But you won't be surprised to see your friends on, Triple X. Look like they've pulled one out too, don't they? They are just down here at the bottom end of the course at the moment, aren't they?
I tell you, that is an absolute weapon on a reach, that boat. An absolute weapon. It's modified with the twin rudders, and it is so quick on a reach. Got a cracking crew on board the boat as well, mainly from Britain, and nearly all of them from my hometown, Hamble. So if you're watching this in Hamble, give Eno a massive cheer, because they are absolutely gunning it at the start here.
They have.
Should explain they're one of the highest handicap boats in this class. They're one of the highest IRC ratings in the class. But look at the Maltese coming at them. They're in a bit of a sandwich there. That's Freya. They're in a bit of a HH42 sandwich.
I think we also missed out at the pin end of the line was the Ben Estates Comanche Raider.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy them a beer afterwards. You're absolutely right. That was Ben Estates Comanche Raider. Ramon St. Hill, not who I thought it was. So I'll have to buy the crew a beer when they get in. And St. Hill's done a number of races. Can just hear some shouting for...
well, I suspect that's Otravez coming past, isn't it? There's going to be a little bit of love for them.
Lots of love for Otravez coming through. Brand new boat.
Tell us about Fujimo.
But right on the screen now, we've got Artie, your favourite Lee Satriana's HH42 Artie. Multiple race winners on board in Christian Rippard. Timmy Camilleri's won it as well. And Lee has won the race twice in 2011 and 2014. One little factor you might be interested in, Eno and Artie are the same hull, but she has a shorter rig, deeper keel. So they're not the same boat. They are different configurations, particularly in the sail wardrobe. So it'd be quite interesting to see where local knowledge takes on probably a more optimised boat. Which one of those two is going to win out? We've got a lovely beauty shot there. Just getting in closer.
Your friends on Fujimo.
That's the old IOR 50, and it's great to see boats like this out in the race. Built in 1990, that boat, so that boat's over 30 years old and in fantastic condition. Raced in the Admiral's Cup back in the day. Fujimo.
Well, that's another super clean start, Louis. I think we have been blessed today. Well, the competitors have been blessed, haven't they? Well, yeah. It is going to get trickier as they get bigger, isn't it? Because
yes, we'll come to that. The next start, just so you know, is in just under 6 minutes, and that will be Class 2 for the start, which is the penultimate start of the Rolex Middle Sea Race in just under 6 minutes. And I'll let you pick first, Charles. Come on, who do you like in this start?
Well, I like all of them, frankly.
Yes, so do I.
I know you've got a favourite, Louis. Go on, tell us who your favourite is, and then I'll tell you mine.
Okay, if there's anybody who loves this race more than anybody else, it's Franco Nigella. Racing his Cookson 50 Kuka 3 from Switzerland, but with an all-Italian crew. Franco last raced in 2019. And this is his 9th race. You cannot keep Franco away from the Rolex Middle Sea Race, including the brutal 2007 race where they finished 2nd in IRC2 and 7th overall. And there was another race when they were literally close to winning it and they had a keel problem in the Camino Channel, literally in the last few hours of the race. I think that the Rolex Middle Sea Race owes Franco because he just loves this race. So my Kuka 3, Giles.
Well, Cookson 50s have done well, haven't they? Mascalzoni Latino won the race. Yeah. They lost the race by 8 seconds the preceding year, didn't they?
Indeed.
And in the year they won it, Cookson 50 was in 2nd place. So it's a good boat for the race in the right conditions.
Yeah.
I've looked through this list and I'd say I could pick out any number of them. I'm gonna go for Teasing Machine though, Eric de Turckheim. Okay. I think he's due a special result.
Okay.
Tactician Laurent Page, winner of the Volvo Ocean race. He's on his 4th race with this boat. He's had some very solid results.
Okay.
And
Laurent Page, Volvo Ocean race winner, but that's just tip of the iceberg. I mean, he is a phenomenal sailor. They have a very good, solid team that's been together a long time. I think that's a really good pick.
If it had been a lighter wind race, I might have gone for Freccia Rossa, the TP52 from Germany. But I think that is a light wind TP52. They won the Rolex Duralia. And in previous hands, whenever we spoke to them, they said they didn't want too much.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. We're just watching the boats that are leaving the Fairway Buoy just now. That's Artie back in picture. Artie looks like they've done well, but I'm pretty damn sure that Eno's in front of them. They need to be, because Eno gives Artie some time on IRC. And we forgot to say, it's Saturday afternoon here in Valletta. The crowds are out in the open air. We've got a few restrictions, as everybody has everywhere, but it's great to see the crowds out. And I know I'm going to be making people very jealous back home, particularly in northern Europe and the United States, because it's about 23 degrees here. Sorry if it's raining in the UK where I'm from, but it's absolutely beautiful weather here in Malta. There's a lovely beauty shot, and if you're ever thinking of coming somewhere on holiday with a lot of interest, I would absolutely guarantee you'll find interesting people, places, food, culture here in Malta.
You will, and we're sitting in the heart of it, really, aren't we? In Grand Harbour, Valletta. It is the most beautiful city. We've said already, UNESCO World Heritage Site. They started building it in 1566, Louis.
My favourite is the Coe Cathedral. Google that at home, guys.
Anyone that can tell us what is the most famous painting hanging in the Coe Cathedral, they won't get much of a prize, but they'll get a shout out. So if you can tell us what that painting is and who it's by, and if you can tell us a unique fact about that painting too.
Okay, I'll give you an extra clue. He was one of the Knights of St. John. There you go. Anyway, we are very close to the start of Class 2. That is under a minute, so that was a 1 minute signal for Class 2. Giles likes the look of Teasing Machine, Eric de Turckheim's NMYD 54, and I like the look of Kuka 3, Franco Nigella's Cookson 50.
But you've also got to say there's a Club Swan 50 in there, Stella Maris, August Schramm, and a Club Swan 50 Balthasar rocketed around the course last year, didn't they? They did. A top 10 finisher. There's another TP52 in here, Zero Mission from Finland.
Yeah.
The Kerr 46, Dage 3 Corum.
Yeah, who took line honours in the coastal race.
There, look at them. They're lining. These are the start of the Grand Prix races.
Yeah. So let's see who's closest to the line there, Giles. I can see a white hull boat with orange sail numbers. We'll try and find out exactly who that is. But quite a conservative start, I've got to be honest. But we've got a white hull boat there, and we'll tell you who that is in a minute on the commentary. You probably already know at home if you know the boat.
It's interesting. They are spread out, aren't they? There's still that pack up at the Fort St Angelo end of the line, and they look at speed. They get some speed, and then they're upright just as they sort of get parallel with the fort, and then they're back on the breeze again when they come down. Someone's tried an interesting approach of going in at the committee boat. Well, what would be the committee boat end or the committee end of the line, the saluting battery? Whether they'll pay out for them, we'll see. I can see the Club Swan 50 looks like it's getting on the breeze now. Yep. That is the blue hull boat. Just to
very
the right
high
of
as well. Good height and speed there. And
interesting to see who's just above them. I think it might be Freccia Rossa. Well, it's Freccia Rossa just to windward of them.
Yes, yeah, I'll concur with that. Freccia Rossa.
And then we're going up further, and really those fluorescent numbers are not helping us at the moment, are they?
Yeah, let's just talk about Carl Peter Foster's TP52 Freccia Rossa. Now in different hands, but was 7th overall in 2020. And Carl Peter Foster is joined by his son Morris. And it's an all-German crew with one change to that, which is Alan Smith, the TP52 world champion from New Zealand.
Well, having been rude about Freccia Rossa, they're schooling the other boats, aren't they? They're
romping through that
just
now.
Overtaking to leeward the... it's an Italian entry. It's got a British sail number, but Lisa Arca, 40 Giovanni Di Vincenzo, closely followed by August Schramm, and your friends. Who are they out there? What's that?
Who can you see?
Struggling with Chocolate, the Far 52 Chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about Chocolate in a moment.
But you're looking at Frekia Rossa on the screen.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. They look, there's a few hiking like they're inshore there. They're really trying to get out of the harbour. Notice that pedestal there. There's no hydraulic winches on that boat. There'll be a few people sweating on the reaches in this race. It's all manpower. Beautiful shot there of Class 2 exiting the Grand Harbour in Malta for the Rolex Middle Sea Race.
Position, aren't they? That's just in the background. You're looking at the siege bell memorial for the fallen in the Second World War, and there's also the forgotten soldier there too. And we're sitting behind in those marquees at the La Baracca Gardens.
There we go, and they were into Fra Diavolo. That is Vincio Adesi's Melius 60. Great to see them out from the Yacht Club Gaeta in the Bay of Naples. And there you see the stunning architecture of the Grand Harbour. That was Teasing Machine, quick flash. And there we have Samuli Lesti's Zero Emission from Helsinki. And it's mainly a Finnish crew, but they do have a Spaniard and a Swede on board. And that boat is innovating new ideas to reduce emissions. And their team has raced at the Copa del Rey and back in Northern Europe at the Round Gotland race. And we wish the Finnish team every success to the race. Kippis, I think, is cheers.
Yeah, this is Orsa Maggiore, which is prototype. It's an Italian yacht. I believe it's a sail training yacht for the Navy.
Stunning, look at it.
Sergio Cozzo.
Yeah, beautiful.
They will have a comfortable ride around in these conditions, I would suggest. They may not be the fastest boat out there, but there'll certainly be sound if the wind does get up to
She is a
35
beauty,
knots they're
isn't she?
expecting. She is lovely.
Beautiful
lovely.
catch. Yes. So, come on then, Giles. Would you like to do the Rolex Middle Sea Race on that boat? Oh, there's a happy crew. Look at them. I think I would. They look happy.
Well, I would. When I did it on Steinlager, so I like to go around on a comfortable ship with pedigree, and I think that looks like a comfortable ship with pedigree.
Yeah, I don't think that's freeze-dried food on board, is it?
No.
No, they probably got some fantastic produce. They just had the olive harvest here in Malta, didn't they?
We haven't talked about chocolate. We didn't see chocolate, but we need to talk about chocolate.
We did briefly. Yeah, Giles, all you go. Let's talk about chocolate. I have to say we have this beautiful picture of this catch in shot now. But Chocolate 3, what do you know, Giles?
Well, back in the day, this was Far 52 was Optimum 3 under Greek hands. My favourite, Pericles Livas and Nikos Lavas.
Who is here, Pericles, isn't he?
He is, and they completed what we called back then the Greek Odyssey.
Okay.
Of doing this race. And you can tell us more about it because there was a famous son of Wales on the boat, wasn't there, Louis?
Well, on the way to the owner's private dinner after the coaster race, I sat next to Eddie Wardone on the coach. And he told me about the race, about bare poles, lightning, thunder, and sideways rain. And it was an absolute, I mean, it sounded atrocious, but they got round. Not only did they get round, but they won it. They won overall in a Far 52. Would have been a hell of a quick boat in 2004, a Far 52, but compared to the rest of the fleet, but not built for those sort of conditions. So hats off to that crew to keep the boat going. That fast and that safe in those conditions. Well done. So the boat's back. It's no longer called Optimum 3. It's now called Chocolate 3. And yes, it is owned by Switzerland's Francois Bopp.
And he's got some Bulgarians in his crew, you tell me.
Yes, he has got some Bulgarians in his crew. Yes, indeed.
Well, that's a great shot, isn't it? Looking from the breakwater out to the back of that class, of that Grand Prix class.
Yeah, indeed.
I think we're there off. Spinnaker's popping.
Yes.
It looks like a great run down to Dragonara, and hopefully we'll get some footage from down there later on. But we really need to concentrate on this next start, Louis, don't we?
We do. We have one start left, and that will go in under 3 minutes.
I think, can we, I don't know if George is able to speak to us. Is George able to come on the line, or is he busy?
Sounds like he's busy.
I think he might be too excited by this start.
Okay. Now we are in the land of the giants, Charles. We have got just under 3 minutes to start. Let's not pick our one just yet, but let's just run through a few of these boats. Who are you going to tell me about, Charles?
George,
oh,
you're
George
there.
Is here.
George, I just wanted to very quickly say to you, is this what it's all about for you, this start? I know we love the small boats, they're the bulk of the fleet, but in terms of spectacle, is this what this is about? Is this Grand Harbour, this piece of majesty here?
It's crazy. I mean, sincerely, guys, it's just complete madness for me. I mean, I'm just going around Scorpius at the moment. She's heading straight to the line. These boats, it's an armada of amazing racing yachts leaving, this harbour. It's surrounded by these fortifications. These are the greatest boats in the world. We've got Scorpius, we've got Comanche, we've got a fleet of Volvo boats. I mean, I'm a happy camper today.
Well done, the Royal Malta Yacht Club.
Yeah,
putting this race on. And we think round of applause. Thank you, George.
Okay.
You better get back to your day job.
Okay, we got Scorpios in shot, but we gone for the wide now because we're not far from the start of Class 1. This will be the last start, the Rolex Middle Sea Race, and we're under a minute to the start.
And there's some serious duking going on out there already for some big yachts.
Yeah. Look at the size of Scorpios' rig there. It's 55 metres from the deck. We're going through the action now.
I think my question, Lou, is do you think they're going to be affected by that little wind hole by Force and Angelo, or are they just going to go straight through it?
No, look how they're higher than the battlements, that rig. It's not going to be affected by anything.
And
their problem is too much breeze because they can't use the water ballast. It doesn't go across quick enough for attack. But I'm amazed they've got that much sail air up. Anyway, we're not looking at them now. We're looking at Comanche. Well, we were.
I know, well, we should be. This is a bit of a battle of the tornado sailors, though, isn't it?
This
whole
is like
fleet.
opening the presents at Christmas.
Tell us about
it?
this is quite interesting, isn't it? Battle of the tornado sailors?
Okay, now, yeah, that is very interesting, but that was the start gun, Giles.
Well, we can see the start.
Yeah, we can see the start. There's the last cannon, and it looks all clear. So that's all clear for the Rolex Middle Sea Race. We're with Scorpios now in George's rib, and my word, 23 tons of high-tech carbon, and that boat took line honours in the Rolex Fastnet race. And she's here for the first time. And the skipper of that boat, Fernando Echevarri, won the gold medal in the Beijing Olympics in the Tornado class. There's 3 other Tornado sailors that were in that Olympics. Let's ask the viewers at home who can figure those out. But let's get back to Scorpios. What a machine.
I'm sorry, they have stood up, Lou. They are being affected by it. So's Comanche stood up. I tell you who hasn't, though.
Okay.
It's Rambler. I think George David, who is the holder of the record for this race in 2007 with the previous Rambler, not this one, the 90-footer, only a couple of feet longer than this. But in terms of technology, light years apart.
Fantastic start from Rambler. What an amazing team they have on board. Brad Butterworth, Silvio Arrivabene, Yocca Signori, Rodney Arden, Simon Daubeny, Stu Wilson. I could go on.
I know,
Peter Van Niekerk.
5 times line on us. He's not going to give that up easily, is he?
That is a very impressive lead away. I think George David means business.
Well, this race is not about straight line speed or waterline length necessarily. It is a massively tactical race. You have got to put your boat in the right place, and they did that off the start. Admittedly, I don't think 140-footer is going to be quite so nimble. They are steaming through here, Lou.
Yeah, incredible sight. There we have Scorpios with her emblazoned scorpion rhetoric down the side of the boat. It does stand out a little bit, that dwarfing the TP52 Paprec. Yeah, that is a TP52, not a laser next to Scorpius. And behind them we have Comanche. So Comanche's had a good start there, but not as good as Scorpius. And we saw Rambler really get away well. So absolutely amazing scenes here in the Grand Harbour in Malta.
Well, Rambler's going to get out first, and I think that's one in the bag for George personally.
You know, I think he's had a bad cut of the green in this race, not breaking that record. Maybe it's his this year, but we're looking at Scorpius and Comanche right now for the viewers at home.
And Way of Life outside them, the Slovenian
and Way of Life
entry.
outside,
That's
indeed. Let's not forget that.
An old Morning Glory.
Amazing.
Followed by Paprec. That's pretty impressive for a boat that's virtually a third of the size of the Clubson 125.
It is. All French team on the boat. That'll be brutal on that boat. Oh.
And then there's a clutch of Volvo boats. This is not their weather, is it, in the harbour? They need a bit more breeze. Once they get outside, they're going to get going.
What a super shot that is. Look at. There we go. That is Class 1. The big boys are away in the Rolex Middle Sea Race. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to hand you over to Giles while...
Well, we're fortunate because we haven't finished yet, Louis, because we've got a camera down at Dragonara, and we may be able to get some images from down there. So viewers, don't go away just yet. We may have finished that. We may have finished the start, just with the last couple of boats trying to get out. Telefonica Black.
Who's out at Dragonara?
Well, we've got Mark Napier out at Dragonara, who's probably been having a feast of yachts coming past him in the under Spinnaker. Mark, are you there?
What
yes,
an
I am
amazing
here,
sight.
guys.
Mark,
I am here. There's plenty of action over here around the Mark. Plenty of action.
What have you seen so far? What's going on at the Mark? Are they what point of sail are they on?
Sorry, can you? I cannot hear you so well myself. There's too much wind. But you know, the boats have all the class 3 have rounded more or less. There are class 2 and class 1 remaining.
Okay, and is it a good sight?
It is a very good rounding by all boats. It was a bit hectic. We had some port starboard situations here, but all went well. And you know, they're now heading to Italy. It's a very fast race. The scene with all the boats coming down with their spinnakers, you know, was fantastic. You know, it was a rainbow of colours, something out of this world.
Are you getting? Is anybody waving at you at the moment, Mark? Are you close enough to see them?
I'm sorry, I cannot make out what you're saying. The wind blowing. I mean, the wind is about 15 to 18 knots. But there is a swell. The swell is a bit heavier than it was in the start.
Well, I'm going to think we're going to leave you there, Mark, because we've got some really interesting footage.
Okay.
We're looking on camera at the moment. We've got our other rib out there that is ploughing a furrow in front of Scorpios.
Yeah, quite interesting to see how upright she is with the water ballast kicking in there. We've got a nice overhead now of the big boys leaving the breakwater, and the next point of the course they'll be looking for is Capo Passero on the south east corner of Sicily. Is that
southeast
right?
corner of Sicily? Yeah, yes. Correct, Louis.
But fantastic sight. And just so you know, we do have a chopper up there with Kurt Arrigo.
Yeah, and a film cameraman.
And also the team from IMG. So you'll be seeing some really polished work from the video and photographic team later on.
Yeah, I thought it might be interesting just to talk about this this race record, because we've been talking about it. It's touch under 48 hours for the first.
Well, it's
for the race.
47 hours, 55 minutes and 3 seconds, Giles. Let's be precise.
Let's be precise. And that is a far cry from when Stormvogel went round in 1968 in 146 hours.
There you go. Great boat, though, Stormvogel.
They
Don't get me wrong.
They finished on Friday.
Right,
started
okay.
Saturday. The following year, they cut off a few and they finished on the Thursday. It then took till 1973 for War Baby, which is an old 12 metre, and they finished on Wednesday in 86 hours. Then Mistress Quickly, 1978. The first year the race was run anti-clockwise. They stormed past in 79 hours, finishing on Tuesday evening.
Okay.
Riviera de Rimini, remember that? Ultra light displacement boat. Very fast Italian
Zephyrus, I
flyer.
certainly do.
Zephyrus 4 in 2000. They took it down to Tuesday morning, 64 hours.
Yeah.
But really, 2007 Rambler, 47 hours, 55 minutes, Monday morning.
But are we seeing deja vu this year, Giles? I mean, there is potential for quite a lot of breeze. We're talking.
We are. The breeze
potentially
is
for.
These big boats are going to get the breeze following them round. They've got some tricky points. They've got the Messina Strait to get through. That's going to be a transition zone. If it shuts down on them there, they get foul tide. They could be in trouble. But if they don't, they pop out through on the northern shore. They're going to have easterly breeze taking them all the way down to Trapani. There's another transition there. But that, looking at the weather forecast this morning, talking to Will Oxley on Comanche, it looks like it's going to be enough for them to pop down. That western
It's all
part
lining
of the
up,
course.
isn't it? If the forecast is right.
Well, it is, and he said even the low pressure that's moving in off North Africa is beginning to help them. They think the wind might not be necessarily on the run line, just as they wanted from Lampedusa back to the finish, but there is wind out there, and if you get yourself in it, you'll fast time. And he was saying definitely, he reckoned they're routing at the moment, which could change. It's been changing every 6 hours really for the last 3 days. But they reckon they could be under the 47-hour mark. So
well, we're looking at Comanche there with Scorpios in the background, and back in 1968 when Stormvogel went round in 146 hours, they would have thought they were on another planet looking at this. But I mean, having said that, Stormvogel was the Scorpios of its day. So that's how. Yacht development has changed. We're looking at these amazing machines now.
And I think it just this sort of shout at how difficult this record has been. 2007, only one boat's come really within any sort of distance of it, and that was Leopard in 2009, and they finished 30 minutes outside of Rambler's record, which, if not heartbreaking, must be pretty close to it, because that was a substantial achievement. And they were the fastest boat to Stromboli. They got there in just over 16 hours. So that's going to be the first checkpoint for us. See how fast they do that.
See how they get on.
And I love this stat. Just one more stat for you, because I love this. When Rambler went round, 16 hours 45 minutes to Stromboli, 29 hours to Favignana, and then it took them 18 hours from the halfway point to the finish.
And that can happen in this race, can't it? Well, that was the start of the Rolex Middle Sea race, and you can keep up to date with all of the news.
And we're just going to keep going, though, Louis.
Are we?
We're going to keep going till we get these big boys round Dragonara. No one's telling us to stop. We've got to keep going, boy. What else can we say? How about some questions for the fans out there? Here we go.
Okay.
Just, if you're still paying attention, we talk about Stromboli being the most important mark on the course, but it's not actually a mark of the course. What is the mark of the course? That is the question. What is the most northerly mark of the course? I've given you a clue. It is not Stromboli, but it is obviously amongst the Aeolian Islands. Stromboli itself, though, is an active volcano, lighthouse of the Mediterranean, as we like to say, 924 meters high. It's been in constant eruption since 1934, Louis. So that is a spectacular sight going around day or night.
Yeah, that is a very good point, because people often go around some of the iconic landmarks of offshore races, such as the Rolex Fastnet race. They go past the Fastnet, they say it's always dark. Doesn't matter at Stromboli, does it?
No, it doesn't. Another question for the viewers too, if anyone is still watching. I want to know, there are obviously Etna is probably the highest point on the course because it's well over 3,000 metres. But ignoring Etna, have a stab at the next highest point on the course.
Oh, I think I've got that. I'm not going to say it.
Apart and I'm going to also ignore the other volcano, Stromboli.
Oh, well, that wasn't fair.
Sorry, you
Josh.
don't get Stromboli.
You
got to come
can't
up,
just
you
change
can't
it
just have a
afterwards.
volcano. You've got to choose something different. Oh, we're now getting some. We are so privileged today.
Well, it's
we're
amazing.
getting vision from the course, which we've never had before.
But typically, we're seeing the boats reaching off to the Capo Passero, and often in Messina, this is where the race is won and lost after that, where the breeze tends to die. But this year, it's still a gate up there at the top of Messina into really good pressure. But it looks like the boats are going to get wind in Messina, and we'll know more of that later on today.
Yeah, I think for the first boats, it's going to be a bit sketchy up there until the early hours of Sunday morning, when this stronger east-northeasterly, as those anticyclonic winds of the low pressure come further onto the course and start pushing from the northeast, it then starts to build, and south of the strait.
Yeah, mate, but look, right now we're looking at the battle that is already developing for line honours in the monohulls here. We have Scorpios just ahead of Comanche. Interesting to see the configuration that you see. Scorpios is very flat in the water. She's sailing very flat. Comanche a little bit more heel. Exciting stuff already, and I think it's going to go on the whole race with those two.
I think it will. I don't think Scorpios, even with their 40 extra feet, are going to have it all their way.
A lot of manoeuvres on this course.
A lot of manoeuvres, particularly when they get up to Messina. It could be you're going to struggle to get through that on one or two tacks, and that may be all that Comanche needs.
Yeah.
But again, that's also the case with Rambler. If they can hang on to the coattails of these two, that is a supremely well-sailed boat. They've probably got more miles under their belts than these other crew on the boat itself.
Yeah.
So
we haven't got the tracker in front of us right now, and I'd love to see how it's working out on the tracker. You can at home. You can go to the tracker. Every boat in this race has a satellite tracker unit.
Well, that is Scorpius Rounder Dragonara, just about to be followed by Comanche. I was trying to give the viewers just a bit of a sense of the weather, because tonight, in the middle of tomorrow morning, the smaller boats could see the wind building very quickly, and they're going to get around 30 knots from the northeast, and that's going to be very hard on them after their first night at sea to wake up to that. And it persists through most of Sunday. The Messina Strait may actually provide the relief they want from that, because it's going to be a bit quiet, and then they pop out the top, and hopefully they're going to get wind all the way around. There's another very strong patch that's going to hit them up there too. Okay. But it doesn't look like this year they're going to get some of the weather they've had in the past, which is down the western side of Sicily, where they've been beaten up, having had 3 days of slugging it around Stromli. They then get hammered after Favignana. It doesn't look like it's going to be that way. They're going to get all the beating early doors, and then the rest of the race should be straightforward, unless you're slow, and then it may be a bit sketchy back to Malta.
And that big breeze might come in, but it's just so unpredictable.
Completely. I think we'd all like to be on that boat right now, because frankly, they are storming away.
Yeah, it is something else, isn't it? We sort of, I'll be honest, I didn't believe it when they said we're building the largest one we've ever built. It's going to show that kind of numbers. 30 knots downwind, they say this boat can do. And you know what? It might well do that this race. 30 knots downwind. That's boat speed, by the way, not wind speed.
Yeah, impressive stuff. We're up to the drone again at Dragonara, which is lovely, just watching Rambler go past. Oh, maybe lost the signal, sadly.
That's it. Well, there they go. They're off on the Rolex Middle Sea race. I'm glad to say, without any incidents here in Grand Harbour, Valletta. You're looking out at the breakwater at the moment. And if you've been watching at home, please tell all your friends where this is. There will be a replay of this race, which will be posted on Facebook and on YouTube. And it's goodbye for me, Louay Habib. And I'll hand you over to Giles Pearman.
Yeah, thanks, Louay, for letting me do this again. It's such a privilege. Thank you, Royal Malta Yacht Club, for putting on this race. Thank you, Yachting Malta. Let's give them a shout out too, because they've really helped us put on this live start. It's the first time we've done a multi-camera start, and I think it's been really, really good. We've had some great help. Our friend Jean in the corner there, he's smiling because he knows he's coming to the end of his rather stressful 48 hours. Miles Wardenham, we should give him a little shout too.
Great stuff, Miles.
He's been on the just pointing the cameras in the right direction for us. I can't thank the rest of the crew because I can't remember all their names, which is awful.
They've just been smiling and grinning, even when we had a couple of little technical problems.
Peter Demek over at the Saluting Battery, Royal Malta Yacht Club, PRO. He must be happy. He's got them all away.
I think his shoulders have relaxed a little more.
And then one last little thing. I just think, thank you again, Royal Malta Yacht Club.
Yeah, the welcome is unbelievable. It's open arms. It's what do you need, and they make it happen. And I totally applaud the Royal Malta Yacht Club as we do both. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to catch us on social media, and you'll see the tags come up right now. It's goodbye from the Grand Harbour in Valletta. Stay tuned to the race, though.
Thank you for watching the start of the Rolex Middle Sea Race. To keep up to date with all the news, pictures and videos of this fascinating race, go to rolexmiddlesearace.com and follow the race on social media with the hashtag Rolex Middle Sea Race.